So we're here today to talk about measuring hooves for fit kits, and the fit kit is a measuring tool that we use to fit the three different kinds of boots: the Easyboot Glove, the Easyboot Glue-On, and the Easyboot Glove Backcountry. So the fit kit is valid for all three boot types. We're going to measure all 4 feet, or I should say all feet that you want to measure for boots, because each foot can be slightly different. So when we measure, we're going to use a ruler that has millimeters on it. We're not going to measure in inches and convert back to millimeters because the measurement won't be precise enough. So get a ruler that has millimeters on it. Most of them today do. I'm going to start with the width. Just look before you measure it for the widest part of the foot. Slightly different on every horse. It's no scientific measurement, but we are going to look here on this horse. It's 115 millimeters wide. And then when we measure the length, we're going to go to the weight-bearing part of the hoof that's the furthest back, the heel buttress. So on this particular horse, it is 122 millimeters. So I'm going down the center of the hoof, and I'm looking for the weight-bearing part of the hoof that's the furthest back. So 115 wide by 122 long. That tells us, when we consult the size chart, either in the application guide or on the EasyCare website, Fit Kit area, that it's a size 1 hoof boot. So we ordered a size 1 fit kit for this particular horse, and the fit kit is actually 3 boot shells. And with the size 1, it comes with the size 1 boot, one size smaller, which is an 0.5, and one size larger, which is a 1.5. And that really gives us an opportunity to measure and look at, in a 3-dimensional setting, whether or not the boots really fit. We want the fit to be very snug. We don't want it to be too loose, but we also don't want it to be so tight that it's touching any of the soft tissue areas. So knowing that the measurements were 115 millimeters wide by 122 millimeters long, we think that the size 1 boot is going to fit best. So I'm going to start with that. Picking the foot up. Just put the toe of the hoof in, slide it over the quarters with one hand. If it's a tight fit, you might want to use your knees and just make that final twist. Place the foot down. We're going to assess the fit just by looking at it starting at the front. We can see that the V here is spread very nicely, that the shell is touching the hoof wall all the way around. There's no gapping, there's no space here at the V between the boot shell and the hoof wall. It fits all the way around. It's a nice, even fit. And when I look at what's going on at the back of the boot, I can see that there's coverage of the soft tissue areas, but there's not too much gapping, and it's not so small that it's going to be pinching any areas here. So I really like the way that fits. Use a hoof pick to remove the boot shell. And just for our own state of peace of mind, we're going to try the smaller boot shell and then the larger boot shell. You can see as this is going on, it's a much tighter fit. I'm going to use my knees to secure the joint while I do that final twist. Get the boot shell on, place the foot down. Again, a very nice spread of the V, which you'd expect with a smaller boot. And it does hug the hoof wall very nicely all the way around. But you can see here that the bottom of the hoof is actually bulging, pushing out the boot shell to a point where the hoof is not fully supported by the base. It's wider than the base. It's bulging right here. So I don't like the way that looks. When I pick up the hoof and look at the back, I can see here that really the hoof is not sitting over the base of the boot shell. It's sort of sitting on the back of the boot here, almost making this the base of the boot, whereas it should really be coming up closer to the hairline. So that's definitely too small for a boot. And then using the 1.5, the largest of the 3 boots, and putting it on, it's kind of going on very easily with one hand. I don't really even need to use my knees to support the joint to get that boot fully on. It fits nicely. It's good contact all the way around the hoof capsule. It's got a nice V. So those things are all good. Let's look at the third area. You can see here that there's a gapping in the back. It's sort of loose. And the boot really shouldn't be coming on and off that easily on a dry hoof. That to me is a little too loose. So I'm happy with the size 1 boot. That's definitely what I would go for with this hoof.